My brother is incredibly rude to my wife and he doubled it down by telling her she will die at the birth of our child, so I punched him in the face on my father's birthday. He's also incredibly rude and bitter towards everyone, and routinely blames my parents for why his life isn't going well. Everyone in my family adores Riley, except for Joshua. My wife is an attorney and went to a great law school, and I think Josh is jealous of that. He makes a lot of passive-aggressive comments about her family's wealth. His nickname for her is Princess, and loves to talk about how her job is just defending sociopaths for no money. She's a federal public defender. For a while, I called out his comments as cruel and ridiculous on the spot, but Riley asked me to stop because she didn't think it was worth the aggravation. She always likes to turn the cheek and make the other person look horrible by not reacting at all. Riley has 3 brothers and is used to rolling with the punches, so the comments don't bother her all that much, but they drive me crazy, and I've had multiple conversations with my brother about how he treats my wife. He always says he's just joking and that he likes Riley. My mom has also asked him to stop being so rude to Riley, and he always says he will, but it hasn't gotten any better. Yesterday was my dad's birthday, and my parents invited our entire family over for dinner. Josh seemed drunk when we arrived, and he had several glasses of champagne during dinner. Julia kept asking him to stop drinking, but he brushed her off. By the end of dinner, he was slurring his words and almost passed out. He was so drunk. At one point, my mom asked Riley how her pregnancy was going. Riley said things were going well, and my mom got teary and said she was thinking of her and knew things will go well this time. Josh then blurted out, "It can't go worse than it did the last time she was pregnant." He started laughing hysterically, and I can't describe the shock and horror on my wife's face when he said this. I told Josh his comment was not okay, but instead of shutting up, he continued to laugh and said the only way it could go any worse is if she died too. He then asked me if I'd rather have Riley or the baby die. If it was up to me. Everyone was yelling at him, and I lost my poop. I pushed him off his chair and punched him in the face. My brother-in-law, Ella's husband, and my dad had to pull me off him. Riley and Julia were both crying, and I told my parents we were leaving because I couldn't be in the same room as Josh. I got a call from my mom on the way home, and she told me that she kicked Josh out because she was so disturbed by what he said to Riley. Last I heard they're staying with Julia's sister, but I don't give a poop to be honest. Riley, who usually isn't bothered by Josh, has been crying all day. She says that it was the cruelest thing anyone has ever said to her, and that Josh must hate her if he could so easily joke about her and or our child dying. It's honestly the most upset I've seen her during the pregnancy, and that's saying a lot because of how emotionally difficult it's been on both of us. This morning, I got an angry call from Riley's older brother Ryan, who is incredibly protective over her. Riley called and told him what happened after we got home, and he helped me comfort her. Ryan asked how I could subject my pregnant wife to my idiot brother and told me he never wanted to see Josh again. I told Ryan I was sorry, and that I didn't think he'd go so low, but Ryan hung up and won't return any of my calls. Riley has told him it's not my fault, and that she's the one who always asks me to ignore Josh, but Ryan is still understandably upset with me. I also feel like I failed Riley by not putting a stop to this sooner, even though I never would have imagined he'd joke about her stillbirth or something happening to her during childbirth. I also got a call from my mom telling me that Josh didn't even remember what he said that morning and felt horrible when Julia told him. He's agreed to go to rehab and says he's had a drinking problem and serious depression for a while now. I told my mom I didn't care, because I don't ever intend on being in the same room as Josh again. My mom said that she doesn't expect us to forgive him yet since she herself hasn't, but she hopes I'll leave the door open for us to have a relationship since the Josh we saw last night wasn't the real Joshua. She talked about how he's a good person, but has been through a lot in life, and so we have to support him. She also said I didn't help matters by punching him, since it just upset Riley more and it's never okay to resort to violence. Basically, she thinks Josh owes Riley an apology, but I owe Josh an apology for hitting him and my dad an apology for ruining his birthday. I haven't spoken to my wife about any of this since I don't want to put any more stress on her, but I don't plan on apologizing or even thinking about letting her near Josh again. I don't like violence, but I don't feel bad for punching my brother at all. I also know he has a drinking problem, and that he probably wouldn't have said those things sober, but it was still unforgivable in my eyes. Ada for escalating things and for not being open to forgiving my brother after he gets help. Any advice would be appreciated.